it's not quite clicked, particularly with the numbers yet, but he's not a player that you think, well, this will never work.
No, definitely not. He's an exceptional player. You're right. He has been creating chances. Liverpool just haven't probably as been clinical as yet. I want to see him. The only thing I say is he dropped so deep to get on the ball, and I think that's because beforehand, when he's at his previous clubs, he's the main man and he's always getting on the ball. He don't need to be there at Liverpool. Stay in that number 10 role and go and create stuff. I think he will come good. I do believe Wirtz will come. I think as soon as him and Isak build up a partnership and he builds up a partnership with the rest of the players around him, as I said, I think Liverpool will start winning more football matches than they're doing at the moment. But I think he's such an intelligent player. He just has to get used to the Premier League. It is the hardest league in the world. And you've come from a different country. It's different. You don't know who he's come over with. Is he missing family? All you have to take all of this into account, and it's still early on in the season. Do I think he'll be a success at Liverpool? Yeah, do I? And we will see the best of Florian Wirtz, because you do not become a bad player overnight. I just think it takes a lot of time to adjust to the Premier League. It's the hardest league in the world, and I think he's an exceptional talent.
One of the things that I would say about him is that he maybe needs to be a bit more selfish.
Yes.
And I think he's looking for a pass, and that's probably understandable a lot of the time, particularly if you're playing with Salah and Isak that you want to give the ball up. But
yeah.
There are times I think he should shoot more.
100%, because he's been brought in to create chances, and when you're looking on the right, you've got Salah and the main man, and then through the middle, Isak, who they put a lot of money in and thinks is going to be their main number 9. Sometimes with his ability and the goals you've seen him score, especially at international level, just be positive. I think if he goes, he's obviously playing Northern Ireland. If he scores tonight, every time I've always said this, when you come back from international, no matter who you're playing against, your game will go to it and you'll be full of confidence. At the moment, I think when he pulls on that Liverpool shirt, we're not seeing the real Wirtz, who's a top player. And as you said, get your shots away. Go and create stuff. Play without that free... They paid this much money because they believe in you. Everyone believes in you. You're a top player. Just go and showcase it. But in time, I think we'll see the best of him for sure. You do not, as I said many times, you're not a bad player overnight.
I think Jamie Carragher has spoken about saying, well, maybe a little spell out of the team might be best for him. Is that easier because Arne Slot has options, or is it more difficult because he costs so much? And every time he's a sub, people will say, you got 116 million quid sat on the bench.
No, I get that, but how are you ever going to get... You can take him out, and I've suggested it. I said it, me and my friends have loads of chats about it. I said they should take him out for 2 or 3 games. But they're like, well, how are you going to get the best of him if you keep taking him out and he's out of it for 3 games? The team do well. And then when he does get put in, people are asking questions, well, why have you changed the team? So it's difficult. I think he did it in the Merseyside derby where he took him out and then he brought him back on. But I think when you've paid that much money for someone, you want to be a success. Listen, if the results don't turn around, then there come a time where you're going to have to take him out and, you know, hopefully he can come on and make an impact with half an hour, 25 minutes to go, and then we can see the best of him. But I think you stick with him for the time being. Play him in that number 10 role. I don't like him playing off the left.
So I was going to say, do you think that's his...
Yeah, the left...
I've got to keep him.
I think the left's difficult for him because he's not going to be a player that's going to go on the outside of his fullback. Like Gakpo can come inside. Evidently, he's always going to come inside. And at the moment, Kirkes is not playing to the Kirkes that we've seen at Bournemouth, so it'll be difficult with them too. When I think he's in the number 10 role where he can create and cause problems and link up, whether it's Isak or Ekitike, I think that's his best role at the moment.
In a sentence, does he start on Sunday?
Yes.
Don't even need a sentence, just a word.
A sentence and a word's better. Yes, I think he should start.
That's a full sentence.
There's a full sentence.
3 years in the job. He says, we have to be patient. We have a long-term plan. It isn't a light switch. You can't run a club like Manchester United on knee-jerk reactions to some journalist who goes off on one every week. Is that a little bit inaccurate, given the lack of progress that so many people seem to have highlighted with Man?
Again, I blame a big part of it of their recruitment. Their recruitment is nowhere near good enough at that football club. Nowhere near good enough. And that is why they're struggling at the moment. But listen, he got a good result last time out against Sunderland. Now the pressure's on because they go and play Liverpool, and everyone can say, oh, it's the perfect game because there's no pressure on them. There is pressure on them because Liverpool haven't been in good form, and it's still one of those games where you have to turn up and deliver.
The point on giving someone time, and you could argue that it's quite refreshing to see Sir Jim Ratcliffe come out and say, we want to give him time, because at the other end of the scale, we've been on this show in the last couple of weeks talking about Ange's under pressure after 7 games. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I guess the problem is, how many individual games have you watched of them where you thought, do you know what, I see where this is going? Because that's the thing, under someone like Klopp, who didn't win for more than 3 years a trophy, you still saw the progress.
100%, and it's a good question. You saw the progress and you saw where he was trying to take that football club. Listen, he's not a bad manager because we know he's not a bad manager. Ruben Amorim's a good manager. He has to learn to adapt, and he is going to get scrutinised because he's at a club like Man United. If you didn't want to get scrutinised, don't come to the Premier League and don't come to a club like Man United. It's the best league in the world, and when you're at a big club like that, everyone's going to look at you. And some of his antics on the touchline have not been the best when you're a top manager and you're working for a club like Man United. But he has to deliver. He's been a bit unfortunate with certain games and stuff, and we all keep picking up, why don't he change his formation? Make no bones about it, he's not changing his formation. He's sticking to what he knows. But good managers know how to adapt. And at the moment, he hasn't adapted at Man United. I'm not saying don't start with that formation, Rob, but I'm saying sometimes when you end a game, you can change that formation if it's not going right to you. And you see the top managers doing that. And that's where he comes a bit short at the moment. But listen, I don't ever want to see a manager lose his job. I hope he becomes a success at Man United. But at the moment, it's a big call. He's got his chairman backing him. He'll be happy, so he has to deliver.
You touched on their next opponents, which is the champions Liverpool on Sunday. It was 2-2 at Anfield last season in this game. Who's it a bigger match for, Liverpool or Manchester United?
Oh, what a question. I think both. In particular, Liverpool as well, on the back of some really, I wouldn't say the performances haven't been the best, but it's more the results. Even at Chelsea, where you're thinking we ain't played brilliantly, but we've got that goal and then we concede right in the last minute. It's not been good enough from Liverpool at the moment. But I do think when everyone clicks, and Wirtz and Isak in particular, Liverpool will be a force to be reckoned with. I know everyone's saying Arsenal are the favourites, which, because Liverpool have had a few bad games, now Arsenal are the favourites. At the start of the season, when people were saying Mikel Arteta had the handbrake on, Liverpool were the favourites. So it just changes week in, week out. I still think Liverpool are a strong team, and I do believe it will be between them two. And I would throw Man City into the mix as well. But a huge game for Liverpool, massive game. They need to rebuild confidence back in that team and start winning again.
Yeah, it is one of the biggest games in world football. Who will come out on top? It is Liverpool against Manchester United live on Super Sunday. You can see it Sky Sports Premier League from 4 o'clock.
OK, well, quite a lot to pick out of that, isn't there? But let's start, Ashley, with Diogo Jota. And it was something really that Arne Slot, I think, alluded to as well after they lost to Chelsea. He said that had we got a point there, given all we've had to deal with, it would have been a very good start to the season. Yeah. Do we sometimes underestimate the huge impact of Diogo Jota's passing on Liverpool this season?
Possibly, and I don't think anybody means that disrespectfully, but because football's such a fast-moving sport and there's always a game, and you're always judged on that last game, possibly, maybe we all do. But, you know, just listening to Cody Gakpo then, you can see how emotional it is. It's such a tragic story. And you can imagine how much it affected the whole changing room. I had a teammate also that died when he was playing for Swansea, Bessin Idrisai. And it's you try and pay them the most respect, so nobody sits in his locker. But then every time you go in, it reminds you, so it brings you, you're sad all the time. And then, like I said, they've got new players coming in that aren't attached to that situation, that are happy to be at Liverpool. So it's a mix of emotions. But they haven't had the best of starts in terms of what we thought they'd do. But they're still, they're 2 points away, and they're still in a decent position. But the Diogo Jota situation is, I don't think we should ever forget that the impact that would leave on that dressing room and how hard it must be for them to continue playing. Yeah,
I can only imagine, really. And that makes it all the more impressive, really. They won their first 5 games in such style. We'll get onto Liverpool's title ambitions in a moment. But with Gakpo himself, what have you made to his start of the season? And at the moment, even with all of Liverpool's attacking options at the moment, is he the best option on the left?
Well, yes, for me he is. And also what I love about Cody Gakpo is it's the same as last season. It doesn't matter whoever starts or, you know, new players come in, he just quietly goes about his business, and he always impresses. Every time I watch him, he's always impressive because he's that type of, you know, as an attacking player, sometimes if you're not playing well, you have a quiet game. Well, he'll do a job for the team as well. That's what I really like about him. He works so hard. He's down to earth. He'll always score a goal. I think he's had a good start to the season. I think he's a class act all round. Just watching him there, you know he's a class act.
Yeah, is he a bit unsung then because of that? Because he's not really a big personality. He's not a flashy player, but he's the kind of bit like Diogo Jota, who just gets it done.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He will get the job done. I think as a manager, that's the type of player that you'd want. There's obviously Salah takes the headlines. Isak's now come in taking headlines. Ekitike started great. But he will be the man all season that I think Liverpool will rely on when they're in need of a goal or they're in need of a performance. Cody Gakpo will be on the pitch.
How about Liverpool's title challenge then at the moment? It's amazing how quickly the narrative can change because after those first 5 games, the sign of champions, not playing very well, but they keep scoring at the end and everyone was very positive. Just in 3 games, if you include the Champions League as well, it's completely flipped. How worried are you about their title?
No, I'm not. But I'm guilty as anyone because it was like, oh, if they get Isak, it's done and dusted. They've won already, and we all know that football doesn't work like that. And then, as you say, it was like a week. They had 3 bad games, and then they're not favourites to win the league. But they're a good team, good players. They've recruited well in the summer. They haven't been such a well-oiled machine as we've seen in previous years. But just like Cody Gakpo said, they've got so many new faces come in the door. It's going to take a while for them to adapt to the Premier League or to this new Arne Slot team. So they've got to get used to each other. And the main thing was they wasn't really playing well, I don't think, or even from the start, but they was getting wins at the start. It's a sign of a good team. But we have so long to go in this season. I don't think you can count them out at all.
How do you think, though, they regain that control and solidity that they had last year, which they don't seem to have this year?
Well, I think they'll start. I think after this international break, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Liverpool a little bit more reserved in terms of starting with a clean sheet, because I think the big shock or the surprise is how poorly they've defended this season as a team. That's not just on one player, but as a team, they're very open, they're very easy to get at, and teams are all of a sudden saying, well, we can get at this Liverpool back line, whereas for years it was so tight, but you knew the back four was going to always be the same back four. Now you've got some new bodies in there, and they can be got at. So, Arne Slot's a good manager. He's clever. I think he'll tighten it from the back, and they've got that many attacking weapons that they'll score goals, but they've just got to keep a few clean sheets.
It's part of the problem. Right back and also left back, they've got new players that have come, and then Conor Bradley's also trying to make his way. Is the uncertainty around those 2 positions also then affecting, say, for example, Mo Salah as well, with not having Trent Alexander-Arnold there and different types of right backs behind him?
Yeah, I think it affects everything. So it's not just because Kirkes and Frimpong especially are 2 of the best fullbacks in the world in my opinion, but you lost 2 fullbacks that were such a big part of your team and what you was doing in terms of, you haven't lost Robertson, he's still there, but Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, they were massive for Liverpool. So everybody knew, and especially the link up down the right with Salah was so good, that it's going to take a bit of time. Frimpong's a different type of player than Trent, so it takes time, and you can only get that within games. So you can do as much training as you want, but it needs game time. So 2 quality fullbacks they've brought in, but it's got a bit of time to bed in.
All right.